Alright guys, right here, the Radiant Summon Dokkan Fest banner is probably one of the scummiest, biggest L's Dokkan has ever had in the game. And I'm going to tell you why. Just like a lot of you, I'm not overly happy with this. I really do not like how they set this up. But first, if you don't know what this is a banner which has a lot of the Dokkan Fests that are getting skill orbs recently that we saw in the data download literally yesterday. And we have one that requires 25 Dragon Stones to perform a summon, while the other is 100 Dragon Stones to perform a summon too. So there is two banners currently in the game. By performing these summons, you will gain the treasure item special reward ticket, which is that blue ticket that you can take in to the barber shop and trade them for the EX skill orbs to these specific characters that are featured on this banner, Dokkan Fest wise. So Tech UI, Slug, the Fizz Trio Saiyans, Daimajit, and also in LR Broly. Now, on face value, that seems pretty good. However, locking these special reward tickets and essentially locking EX skill orbs behind having to summon feels really jammy, really scummy to me, and I really do not like it. If this was done differently, like for example how you can pick up special stone packs at a special price that not only give you stones, because usually that is what you're paying your money for, that maybe provide EX skill orbs, or maybe just like a resource pack, which we kind of already have in the game, that involved these skill orbs as a whole, all of them, or specifically these special reward tickets so you can go choose the ones you get as for yourself. I wouldn't mind that as much, because that is essentially a transaction. You're going, here is some money, give me the special reward tickets, I will then go get the skill orbs. That's fine. We already kind of have that in the game, as I said, with those kind of resource packs. Some of them, as I said, you can group with stones, which I think that would be a pretty solid deal depending on the price. And usually those kind of things aren't too expensive. However, the fact that you have to drop stones, which immediately is a bit of a shit on the chest. I don't know why that's the kind of analogy I've gone for. For free-to-play players, is a little bit to me. I'm not gonna lie, because think about it. Say you're sitting there saving for GDC, which a lot of us are, and then you're like, I really want these skill orbs for, say, in LR Broly, but you have to drop stones to get them in order for you to get the ticket to then go get said skill orbs. It's paywalling them. Now, I know you could say, oh, but you know, if you had to spend money directly to get them, that is also paywalling. Yes, but it's a straight transaction to go, here you go. There's no extra steps. In this scenario, yes, you can grind up stones, but Dokkan knows, obviously, that is the premium resource in the game. You are using stones to go summon new characters. So what do they want you to do in this scenario? They want you to go drop your money to go buy stones, to then take those stones, summon on this banner right here, to then go get these special reward tickets to then use them on the EX skill orbs, which essentially locks them behind summoning. Which, as I said, people who are free to play, people who have been saving up their stones for not even just GDC, but whatever the character they're waiting for, they're not going to want to do that, but they may want the EX skill orbs. Which is why I think a direct transaction would work a whole lot better, where you go, here you go, here's £5, £10, however much it would be, and then you get given X amount of special reward tickets and go grab your skill orbs. That works fine. But making it so people want to spend stones or go buy stones to spend the stones to do summons to then get the reward tickets to then get the skill orbs. Sure, there's some characters you might need along the way, but you could always just coin them. It's such a long-winded, and I said just kind of shitty thing to do, to paywall them even more than they needed to be in order to get people to spend stones. Especially with it being so close to GDC, it just doesn't sit right with me. And the same from what I've heard on the timeline from a lot of you guys as well. But even then, because I've been rambling, there's still more. So in terms of the different summons we have, here is the 25 Dragonstone one. You can do this twice. You perform a summon to recruit 5 characters, with one of them guaranteed to be an SSR character. This treasure item, the special reward ticket, cannot be obtained by performing a summon with 25 stones. That I have no problem with, because you can essentially do, which I don't get why they split it this way. It's essentially 50 stones, 1 multi's worth. Because you do it twice, it's 50 stones, you get 10 characters. It's essentially 1 multi's worth. But they split it into 2 summons for 5 characters, 25 stones each. Regardless, it's basically a multi. One of them is guaranteed to be an SSR. If there is a unit in there you so desperately want, which unfortunately of this lineup, the only one that kind of has some use still is him, especially with some new equips. He might pop off. These guys, not so much. Slug, maybe the tiniest bit. Unfortunately, a lot of people think Tech UI is back. We just kind of need to let him die. Okay, he's past his time. It's like that footballer or that athlete, if you watch basketball, baseball, cricket, whatever, that you hold on to. You know, kind of like CR7 now that he's 14, you're like, that's still my goat. We need to just let him die. Just let him go, chill out on a beach and retire. He still has some use because of dodge in his domain, but the skill orbs aren't saving him. Daimajitsu, on the other hand, his skill orbs might actually do a lot, especially with raw defense. But you don't get the reward tickets for summoning on the 25 Dragonstone one. However, if there's some characters you really want there, best bet, coin them. If you have stones to spare, or you don't mind giving some up, or maybe you spend money on the game, then by all means, hop in, try get those characters you're missing if you want to collect them, or there's a character in there that you may need. But then again, you're not going to get too much out of some of these characters, even with the new skill orbs. And as I already said, you don't get the special reward ticket by performing summons on the 25 Dragonstones. Now, the one that requires 100 Dragonstones, which you can only do once, you perform a summon and you'll gain 20 characters, which is quite nice, because not only do you get 20 characters and you can pick up more SSRs along the way, that's great. However, the one summon for 100 Dragonstones, it essentially works out as 2 multis anyway, but it's just done in 1, which I don't get why they didn't just do the same thing here, but they split it into 2. It is what it is. And you do that all in one go. The 18th and 19th characters are guaranteed to be one of the specified SSR characters, and the 20th character, who will be a Dokkan Fest character who has undergone all the available Dokkan Awakenings. The big selling point here is the 18th and 19th characters are guaranteed to be one of the specified SSRs, which are down literally right here that we'll go through. Cool, that's great. There's a guarantee in there. And the 20th is guaranteed to be one of the Dokkan Fest. That's also great, because this is why you're summoning on the banner. However, again, there just isn't that much value, because you're not going to get much use out of some of these units. Again, let's just leave Tech UI to go die. Let him go chill out on his beach. He's finished. With someone like Int LR Broly, Daimajitsu, again, especially with his skill orbs, them two might be some of the best units you can get off here, especially with the new orbs. Cool, good stuff. And the selling point is, not only will you get one of the guaranteed 18th and 19th specified SSRs, and then the 20th will be the guaranteed Dokkan Fest, but they'll also be fully awakened as well, which saves you time and effort. And that's the main selling point. So the 18th and 19th characters are essentially side banner characters that have come out recently. Android 18, the Kid Chi-Chi unit, Beerus, Hercule, Grand Supreme Kai, Angela and Madamasha. We've got Kui, Videl, Piccolo. There's some solid ones in here, but unfortunately, again, not really using too many of these in content where it really matters, if we're being honest. I mean, you could get some use out of Chi-Chi if you've got Kid Goku, etc., and you feel like relying on some dodge. Unfortunately, there aren't too many events and stages where dodge isn't cancelled. Great Ape Kid Goku's new stage, she could be handy. Hercule can kind of be handy. The rest here, let's be real, you're not doing all that much with. This Piccolo, I mean, does work well with the Trio Super Saiyan unit, but again, it's been a while since they've kind of been around the block. Bulma Bunny's not bad as an option. And then, of course, we have the Dokkan Fest guaranteed. I'll say it again. Let's let Tech UI enjoy his retirement on the beach. These guys, they've kind of been and had their time. Maybe the skill orbs might have them, but I don't think it's going to help too much. This guy you can actually still get some use out of. These skill orbs might help this guy a lot. It might help elevate Daimajit a whole bunch, which fingers crossed it really does, because that raw defense could really help him become a much better unit. Lord Slug isn't too bad. No to this guy. No to this guy. You're not really getting too much bang for your buck. Like, if we scroll through some of the EX skill orbs, realistically, what are you doing with crit on Tech UI? Remember, you're paying stones to get the tickets to go get these from the barbershop, which these do come as a set, by the way, which is why they're laid out. One ticket is one character's set, so you get all three. So at least there's that. Could you imagine if they were separate? Skill orb for evasion. He's got 70% chance to dodge anyway. The defense, not bad. But these, what realistically are you getting out of those? Unless you don't have any dupes whatsoever. And then the skill orb for defense here is also pretty nice. But again, unfortunately, I don't think there's too much saving Tech UI at this point. Then for the trio of the Super Saiyans, we've got additional, we got crit. Again, if you don't have dupes, that could help you. Other than that, what's it really doing for you in the current meta? Another additional, some defense here and some defense there. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do too much for them. It'll do much more for them than it will Tech UI, but I don't think it's going to do too much. In LR Broly, same as Tech UI. We've got an additional crit in there. We've got some dodge. Aside from the fact if you don't have dupes, what really is it going to do? Again, the defense is nice, but is it really going to do a lot for him? The only reason why I'd say Broly's is slightly worth it, especially over these two, is for the fact that he's actually still somewhat usable because of his domain, especially once it's up, the damage reduction. Maybe the defense might help keep him relevant for a little bit longer. The main one who gets the good treatment, which I'm very happy with, is Daimajit. He's just a bit off the mark when it comes to being like probably within that top 10. So hopefully these raw defensive equips really elevate him. Of course, we're not going to know that until they get put on and we see some gameplay action from him. But those are the main ones that will end up helping him quite a lot, and he's probably one with the most value. Slugs get an additional crit, additional, and defense. They all pretty much get the same thing. But again, how much is it really doing? The ones who really have no value whatsoever, unfortunately, is my boy Tech Jeet from Saiyan Day, 2 years ago? Or was it last year? I think it was last year, actually. Dokkan always kind of merges into one. This guy, Namek Saga, just isn't it. So maybe it might help him individually, but in the long run, what's it really doing? Again, in the long run for Slug, even though he's a great unit when he released, what's it really doing? This could really help him. This could help keep him relevant just a little bit longer. This one isn't too bad, but isn't great. Tech UI, leave him on the beach, let him retire. And even though the excessive paywalling is why I really don't like this, I think Dokkan fumbled so hard with this. Even then, even though you're guaranteed one of the Dokkan Fest units on the 100 stone summons, that's 2 multis worth that you could be using on GDC instead, especially if it is Daima. But even if it isn't, a character is probably going to be one of the best units in the game and super hype that you really don't want to miss out on this, where you're not really getting overly too much value unless you probably get him or him. Other than that, some of them are a bit meh. And if you're Tech UI, again, leave him alone, let him enjoy the sand between his toes, and let him enjoy his time on the beach. His time is done. So not only do we have excessive paywalling, where you have to get stones or use your free-to-play stones, which is a valuable resource, which I don't advise you spend here, by the way, if that message wasn't clear. But then buy stones, which is what they want you to do, to then use the stones to summon on here, to then use those to go grab yourselves tickets to then go get the skill orbs. Not a fan, clearly. But then there's just not much value here outside of a couple characters anyway, so what are you really summoning for? But at the end of the day, that is just my opinion. If you see some characters here you want, or you really want to rock them with the new skill orbs and you think that'll make all the difference, and you want to use the new and improved versions, by all means, go for it. Dokkan is a single player game at the end of the day. It's entirely up to you what you do and where you spend your stones and money. I just advise you don't do this, and I'm just not a big fan of how excessive the paywalling is, and I think it's just a tad bit scummy. But as I said, that is my opinion. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you do decide to summon, let me know what you got down in the comments, whose skill orbs you decided to pick up. But I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.